Call the meeting to order at 3:35. Wareham Village, December 21st, 2022. If we could silence all our devices and rise and say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Jean, Bill, and Bob are here. No residents participation, so we'll skip old business and thank Mr. Brad Bertolo from JC Engineering for being with us today and ask you to give us an overview, a summary, and presentation on where we are in the surveying and what you did and what you have left to do and where we go from here.
All right, absolutely. I'm sure you've seen your plans that were prepared, or
No.
at least a rough.
Did you get one?
There's two for you down there. I got one.
I haven't looked at it, but I thought,
Yeah.
I'm an old bastard.
So we've been to the property. We've done an existing condition survey, topography, located features, driveway buildings, visible utilities, did topography. And then with what you wanted to build or anticipating to build, I came up with this draft layout for this board's review. Again, I didn't really have any direction on what you wanted to do. I just knew you wanted 2 duplexes.
Right.
So I came up with an option that has 2 duplexes fronting on Sandwich Road, close to the street, parking in the rear. The site does have
Where's
some...
that, over there, Brad?
Yes, over here, yep. The site does have some floodplain on the property, so...
Yeah. What are we,
would
14?
It's 14, yeah. So I wasn't sure about whether or not these are gonna have to be handicapped or not. I don't
Yes.
think we've planned for that in any of the grading. Obviously, parking spaces.
What do you mean by handicap?
Well, we've committed that they're all gonna be handicapped.
Handicap accessible.
Yes, modified, though. Well, you're right. We did,
I mean, that was our,
yeah, we did do that in the beginning.
Okay, you mean wheelchair accessible?
Yes.
All that, okay.
So that also impacts the grades on the outside of the building, ramps, parking spaces, accessibility.
This
to the
is where we
site.
are here?
Yep,
All right.
yep, so
Okay, so, yeah,
what we prepared was a site plan with approximate grading. Again, elevations can adjust, obviously. It's just a draft plan at the moment. Right now, it's shown as needing to be floodplain compliant. I have a slab at 13.5, which would be a lower enclosure.
meaning crawl space?
Like a crawl space, yeah, 4 foot tall. An issue with this compared to the sketch of the plans would be location of utilities would have to be thought of.
Would have to be what?
Thought of. They can't be located in the crawl space area unless there's enough space to...
certain of them can.
Certain, but if you can keep a certain height above the floor, maybe they can hang something from the underside, like
Now,
a
so what
furnace.
utilities would you be talking about that you can't put there? Heat, oil, gas, electric?
I would think the electric panel would probably have to be installed up, maybe in the closet on the first floor.
Yeah.
We would, yeah, that's how we have it now.
All right, hot water heater might be, I'm not sure what you have, might be a on-demand system or a tank, but that might have to go in the attic or
Just has to be above.
Or does have to be above, well, about a foot.
Above 15.
Yeah. So there's about 2.5 feet of play, elevation-wise, in the lower enclosure where you could fit utilities and still be high enough above the floodplain to
Okay,
fit them in there. You'd have to either put them on the wall or suspend them from the floor joists
in the crawl space?
in the crawl space.
Okay.
Yeah. So, again, these foundations would have, because they're in the floodplain, they'd have flood vents on them.
Yeah,
I think you would avoid that if you were to bring it up, the whole structure up about another foot. Doing so would, it obviously requires some more fill on the site,
would it, or a bigger foundation, you mean?
a taller foundation.
A
Yeah.
taller foundation, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, in the long run, it'd probably be better off, because you get people trying to crawl around there, nobody wants to go in there to do plumbing or electric, or whatever.
Like, usually you're not in there too often, it's just you leave enough space so that it's accessible to construct it.
Yeah, okay,
4 feet's pretty reasonable,
okay.
as long as, depending on what you're putting down there, that's the issue. If it's just duct work, yeah, not so bad, but if we're trying to get a furnace suspended from the ceiling, that'll be tight.
That probably should go in the attic and down feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
And for the sake of saving flood vents, adding all that fill doesn't make much economic sense.
no, but if there's a way to make it so that it minimizes flood insurance on any of the structures,
Mhm.
assuming that they would have to be carried if there's, I'm not sure if
No.
there's,
No, that's, yeah.
no, all right. But yeah, it'd still be considered in the floodplain, even if you brought the material up.
True enough,
Yeah,
true enough.
there is the option of filling it and requesting a letter of map revision from FEMA, which would remove a section of the property from the flood zone, then you build as you please, or just build so that the crawl space or basement slab is no lower than the flood elevation. Which, only needs,
The basement slab can be lower than the flood elevation.
so it would have to be vented.
But it would have to have flood vents.
I would try and avoid any flood vents or,
Yeah. But they're a couple $100
So-
a piece.
yeah.
We'd have gas heat, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Could we do-
Or electric probably these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't,
So if you had electric, you wouldn't need boilers and burners in the basement, right? It's just electric. I mean,
Probably electric heat pumps, I think.
Yeah.
That's where the code's driving things.
yeah, you
what was
hit the
that?
nail on that. The
Electric heat pumps.
Pumps, heat pumps,
The,
yeah.
the ones that are outside that connect to your,
Building.
they're up above,
Basically, it's a reverse air conditioner.
Okay.
So, we came up with this option. Again, the next step would be permitting through the town. And that's, we're doing work in the floodplain, so it needs Conservation Commission approval. And I don't know if this plan has been run by the new building inspector yet on what he's gonna.
First time I've ever seen the plan.
yeah, no, we haven't done anything with them. We're just
Okay.
waiting for explanations and,
All right, so we have a new building inspector in town. I believe the prior building inspector mentions that he thinks this might be a special permit and a variance. The variance due to the size of the units, because the town requires a minimum of 650 square feet per unit. These are under that
Yeah.
size.
That would be
They don't mean to be.
that would be.
No, they don't need to be, but based on just whatever I got back.
So
for the last year.
permitting would be, because they're small, it's 600 square feet. Yeah, but that's
a
not
variance.
a variance. But I don't think that's a problem, because we wanted this smaller to discourage additional people.
Yeah, I don't think that's would be an issue.
It wouldn't be an issue,
No.
I don't think, to get the variance, except the process of getting
It's
the
just the process
The
of
time.
going through it.
Hi,
Secondly, I believe you mentioned the special permit. This is I forget the size of the property, but in the zoning district, you're only allowed so many units per acre. I think they already exceed the max unit count, so you're increasing.
We might get into a special, I don't know, I haven't done the.
But again, we're not sure what the new building
Yeah.
inspector's interpretation is.
so that would be a special
We tell him what
permit.
his interpretation should be.
Yeah.
Yes, you're talking special
I
permit
hope
because there's more.
it goes with it, yeah.
Special permit because there's more units on this site, and the zoning was because of the size of the unit.
Yes, the zoning only allows
Okay.
a certain amount of units on the property based on the size.
Okay,
And you already, the current 40 units already exceeds that.
all right.
I forget the max number of the zoning district on it. MR 30.
Yeah,
Yeah, 30,000 square feet for each unit. And there's 5 acres, so the 40 is...
How much land do we have over on that side of the property, Brad?
I have 5.3 as the whole lot. I don't have the specific area on that triangular shape separated.
all our property is 5.3 acres.
Yes.
So with the 40 units,
It's far exceeds what you could actually fit on this
Okay.
property if you were to, develop it
Yeah.
today
Okay,
with, either single or
okay, but
multi-units.
you don't envision any kind of hurdles about that, those two things?
I wouldn't expect it. I mean, it would have to be a detriment to the neighborhood. I think you're adding 4 more units. Access is already off of main driveway.
Yeah.
It's not access, it's using the same.
No new cutouts on the street or any
Yeah.
of that stuff, you come in our regular way and just go?
Yeah, so you're not adding any more curb cuts onto Sandwich Road.
Okay,
And these...
So water is right off the main water things, that's
Yeah,
very easy.
water's on the southern side of the street, so I think it'd be easier to do a direct tap off of the existing main, 2 or 4, depending on how the water department would prefer it.
but not cutting from the street, but cutting after it's in our property, the water main?
Well, it's in the road layout, but not within, I don't think it's within the actual pavement surface. So you'd be working from your dwellings out into the right-of-way and stop short of the edge of pavement. So if it was on the other side of the street, it would be more economical to find the main coming into the property and tie off of that. Because now you're looking at a state highway crossing,
Yeah.
as opposed to a private connection on a private property that
Okay.
would be considerably easier permitting-wise and cost. The gas is a different story. That would, the main gas coming in is quite a distance this way.
It's right here.
Yeah,
It's at the corner.
yeah, it's right in
of-
this little, there's like a little fence
Little
there.
alcove, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with the split unit electric.
All right, so maybe you wouldn't need to tie into gas.
At all, huh?
No, electric stoves, right? And
Yeah. Sure.
Just heat would be what those ductless units, is that what you could,
Oh, they'd be ducted,
oh, ducted? Oh, all right, all right.
I would think.
So if there's,
You know better than I.
Yeah, I was just picturing the ductless units on
Yeah,
the
the
inside,
ones.
but,
They've got those as ductable now.
oh, they,
Oh, okay.
Or they were ductless, they're good for one room and one room only.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Now that they're ductable, then you can do,
oh, okay, right.
great.
So either way, that would avoid any type of running gas lines.
yeah.
so if there's washers and dryers in each unit, it'd still be electric, right? We wouldn't have gas. I don't even remember what we talked
You don't
about.
even know if there's washing.
I don't know, so we have them for the
for here,
Yeah.
here
for
Yeah.
everybody.
for everybody,
Yes,
so
they
we
could-
wouldn't necessarily
wouldn't,
need
yeah.
to provide them
Right, if we did,
on an
it would
individual.
be less
unit
expensive.
basis. Although we could provide an outlet and
Okay.
And sewer, would we just connect with building 5? Could we do that? Extend it
think-
up?
I think it would be easiest to tie into the sewer main.
Okay,
There's a sewer manhole in that direction, which I think
Yeah.
all these kind of tie
yes,
into.
there is, yeah.
It was the lowest point prior to the septic system that was here.
Yep,
So that was easy to just to redirect, they had a manhole and it ran. You know, off the back. The issue with sewer is, I think there's a moratorium at the time that it's been a while since I've asked Guy Campina about whether or not there's flow available.
We did have communication with him verbally and written.
All right.
And he said, because of the size of the units and if there's
Got it. That's the wood press, the volume.
negligible
Oh,
amount of
okay.
water going,
That's what I
so
thought
it
it
wouldn't
did.
affect their moratorium for two
Just keep
buildings.
they're one-bedroom units, we're talking about 440 gallons
All right, yeah. It's,
See what
A
happens.
year?
I just know any increases. they've
a
been-
day.
A day, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, if that's allowable by him or the sewer commission, that's fine. It doesn't,
Yeah,
you could still go through the whole permitting process. To just be at that time when trying to get a permit to tie into sewer as part of your building permit. That would be like probably the final.
check off.
When I last went through this last week
Huh?
with Guy,
You did?
yeah, we took another, obviously another project, but it was held up as an issue at the beginning of the permit process. But at the end of it, it was just no problem. So-
All right, okay. That's just give me a heads up.
No, fully aware.
I have a number of projects that are,
So he'll,
I
it's
say on
likely
hold
he'll
because
allow
of-
us to use sewer. Is that
I
what you're
can't
saying?
speak for him,
But that's what it sounded
I
like.
think
I'm
that
thinking
we,
that's like-
yeah,
especially with our
we
posture.
include him in, he included the amount. I think we're,
okay,
I
that's,
think we're
Do we
okay
have a
with that.
question?
That was Senator Keating's office, so he just had to take that phone call.
Congressman King.
I'm sorry, Congressman Keating.
I wouldn't mind having him as a senator, but he
I
isn't
know,
one.
I'm sorry. It's been very busy. So then the electric, the sewer, the water. Oh, the water heaters for the water. Just by any chance, is there any room on the insides? Probably not, huh, to put them in there?
I guess it depends on the style. It's gonna be a tankless hot water heater, mount on the wall. or-
Electric tank, they don't really have an electric tankless at this point.
Oh, it is, all right, yeah, because that's that on demands. Probably
It
uses
needs
gas.
gas.
Yeah.
Needs the
Okay.
horsepower.
So you need electric.
You need electric hot water heater.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so you need a closet to put that in.
Closet, or it could go in the attic too.
It can go in the attic?
Great.
Yeah,
So,
because the attic will be insulated.
Okay, sure.
You said that. Plan for a hatch for access and maintenance, that's about it.
Just
Okay, thank
water
you.
heater location.
Yeah.
water heater.
Bill says that we can put it in the attic because it's insulated.
Yeah. Yeah, all of that. Do I-
Is there anything else that you need from us?
And do we pay, they pay their own utilities?
They will be paying their own utilities.
Yeah,
All right, so
yeah,
we-
it's
we
gonna
wouldn't
be,
need
it's
to.
gonna be different. They'll be separately independent, paying their own bills.
As opposed to jointly independent.
Yes.
No, as opposed to being, the building, there won't be one meter, there'll be meters for
Got it, got it.
each unit,
Transitional.
so they'll pay their own.
Is that what it is?
Like-
No,
Hey.
no, it's for the people that live in between
So they'd be graduating out, going back out environment,
This is
or
not
No.
they would be in between
No,
coming
no.
here?
It is for, I'm sorry, this is Judy.
Right. how'd you-
It's for people that are not, that have the ability to pay a little bit more. The ones that, they're in the moderate and the high category of money, finances, so. That they won't have to wait as long on a waiting list.
Right.
You know, so.
I mean, this is a while since we started it, but we figured that these would be independent and separate from here. We'd have a separate waiting list, and we'd figure what our annual costs are, still setting aside reserves for long-term, short-term maintenance and all that, and coming up with a rent. So each tenant would have to be able to pay that minimum rent, whatever it is, say it's $600 a month, they'd have to be able to pay that. And, because if one doesn't pay, the others aren't gonna be paying it. It's not like the authority is one unit. So those would be four, what were we gonna call them? Community preservation, Wareham Community Preservation Affordable Housing, blah, 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 4 units. And we'd work it that way. And each year would concoct a rent, and if they could get a subsidy from them for their rent, that would be fine, but we'd have to get the minimum. Anyway, go ahead.
So our next step would be to finalize these things that we talked about, Brad? Or,
Finalize the plan, some construction details that had to be shown on the plan. I gotta verify with Guy regarding the sewer connection. I think what we show is pretty much the best.
Yeah,
And then at that point, you know, you have to continue on with the remaining town permitting
Yeah.
before.
then the permitting begins.
so you have to talk to water people too before you finalize the plan? Or you-
I can talk to them. I kind of anticipate what they'd say about, it'd be a lot easier just to come right off the front. And is it every unit metered separately?
Yes.
So it would just be just as easy just to have either one tap for each building or two taps
Yeah.
for each.
Because they'd be paying their own water bill, it's electric and sewer if we can do that.
So just set up as a typical duplex.
Yeah.
Subdivide them, or separate the utilities and.
So did you anticipate anything from the building inspector? Because you said he's new with these zoning and special permits and all that sort of thing.
I don't think, I'm assuming he'd probably read the bylaw as the prior inspector did. So it was my assumption that it's still probably some type of special permit and/or variance for the project.
So different people can read it differently, huh?
There's the whole entire ball of wax.
That's the
right there.
interpretation. If there was any, I'm not sure there was any letter previously issued. It might have just been
To show them.
just the discussions.
Right.
Then that inspector wouldn't have anything to go back and review and just be basing it off of the current site plan.
So we still got to go through conservation, the building, what else? Planning board, none of that?
We're not sure at that moment. I think this was originally set up, we were talking about possibly doing like Form A lots, separate lots, so it'd be simple site plan. I talked with John Churchill back in our office, and that was
Form A lots for this?
trying to separate this area as separate lots. But that was a while
I
ago.
don't remember.
Yeah.
I thought we
I've never heard anything about
Well, I
that, so
think-
it makes no sense to me.
two
Well,
lots, not 4.
But no,
Subdivision, not four, but.
Okay.
That was discussion that I think John and I had at the office. It
Okay.
might have been back when Teddy was still.
right, well, I
part
think
of
the
this, so-
communication was not to, and this was probably, I don't know zoning, but it's just not connected with these particular existing homes because they're gonna be financed differently.
Yes, yeah, so
So it's,
it's set up as, it was originally, I think, set up as, just construction of 2 duplexes, and like typical residential construction, and the permitting that goes with residential construction.
Okay.
Nothing to do with like
Subdivision, yeah,
multi-unit subdivision or like, multi-units on one lot where the town may want to look into like drainage review, add some drainage. They may want to see test pits, confirm soils, that type of stuff.
Did you uncover any wetland soils on this area of the site?
We didn't do any digging on the site. Based on the topography and mapping, there's no wetlands and no coastal banks or anything
Did the
either.
botanist look at the property?
We didn't have a botanist look at it, no. There is wetlands around the lot behind it.
Mhm.
There's a house right here. And then right beside it, there's wetlands. So there's in the area, but based on
Mhm.
the topography and mapping.
You think we're all set? with
Yeah,
our-
I wasn't worried about any type of wetlands on the property.
Dave's
I
not,
was more concerned with coastal banks, just because in the floodplain, if you had certain slope, you have a coastal bank situation, like you would have around like the back of these units, where the grades are pretty steep.
Mhm.
It's pretty flat in this area, minus a pile of dirt, but they wouldn't really consider that a bank, because that was man-made put there, yeah.
that's 400 years of leaves.
Yeah.
Is now mulched into dirt.
Yeah. So, that's it, so.
Now, what about the old, what do you call it? Sewer system, what do you call that?
Oh,
septic system.
Yeah.
Septic system, is that gonna be removed or?
We're kind of working around it right now, so
Yeah, I can
there
see.
might be some piping that goes through it where portions of it would have to be dug up and removed. I think it's just pipe and stone, if I recall, from the old plans that we have.
Probably.
Yeah, so,
But if we're not trying to do anything on top of it, we don't need.
yeah, just leave it as is.
Do anything to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
okay.
And even if we were, you just dig through it and find good soil.
Yep, and then infill back in with suitable material, depending on what's getting built. If it's
Yeah.
parking lot, yeah, just suitable material and gravel. But I tried to work around it so it would
Okay.
not have to really disturb.
And you know how many parking spaces would have to provide with that, or would be the whole place, or just additional parking spaces because of those 4 units?
I just did it because of those 4 units.
so just so I can understand that in the parking area for the gravel, so if somebody was gonna come and look at the plans and bid to grade and gravel the areas that need to have that, is there like a minimum amount, or is it based on the type of soil that you have?
Were you trying to keep this as gravel, or were you gonna try
No.
to keep this as paved?
Paved.
Paved, yeah.
Paved. I
Yeah,
just didn't
so-
know, like it's dirt and then do you put gravel over it and
Yeah,
then
a
you?
gravel base and then,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
typical.
for road work and
Okay.
parking spaces?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that would show on the details on the final
On the final
plan.
plan.
I didn't want to get the plans too far in advance
Yeah.
if this layout was unacceptable to this
Yeah.
board. I was open book, I was like, what do you want?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Front this way, front that way, I wasn't,
So.
the whole
So
site's
you have,
very,
you have them fronting on Sandwich Road.
I did, yeah, but if you obviously you look at the site, everything's mixed matched everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's completely different style, so I was just trying to,
So where are the spots here?
So, you'd come in and you'd take a left
Yeah.
off the parking lot.
Yeah.
And then as you drive down, I'd have 6 parking spaces on the right-hand side. 1 and 2 bedroom units require 1.5 parking spaces per unit.
Just only one.
So it's 1 or 2 bedroom units.
Okay.
So with 4 units, you'd require 6 spaces. I'm not providing any additional visitor spaces or not. I know there's some already on the property. There is space to do that if you wanted to.
We want to minimize people staying over, visitors come and go.
Yeah.
You know, transients, not moving in.
The only thing that I would have to double check on is the accessibility, if it was handicap accessible to get from the parking lot to the structure, because the structure is up elevated because it's a flood zone. And we have the parking, it's pretty much on the lower portion of the property.
You'll have to have a clear path, you'll have to
Yeah.
designate at least 4 of those spaces as handicap,
Yeah.
and you'll have to have an accessible path. And presumably, we're gonna do that without ramps,
Yeah.
because ramps are expensive.
Yep.
Yeah,
Walks are cheap.
yeah, so
Right,
you're
like-
saying 6 spaces,
Yeah,
4
just
would
like we do
be, 4
here.
would be handicapped,
What?
4 of the 6 spaces would be handicapped.
Parking.
We have 4, for creating 4 handicap units, would be only reasonable to create 4 handicap spaces to go with.
Now, these units have designated parking spaces?
No.
Because I was just a little worried about
Well,
designating
no,
this.
Kind
so-
of do.
So the law is, right, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, every 15 spaces, you have to have 1 handicap space.
I believe it's
One in
every 25.
Oh.
Or
120, I think.
yeah, thought it was 1 in 25, but it's,
Well, somewhere in there.
yeah. The issue is, if you mark it as handicap, people
So-
wouldn't be using it, so you'll have those
Right.
extra
Right.
4
So we
spaces.
really,
You wouldn't need,
we need the space of a handicapped, but not have handicap designation, because if we have somebody that's modified, that hasn't gone through the process to get a handicap sticker, but still walks with a walker, losing their ability for mobility, they won't be able to use that spot if they don't have a sticker. It just becomes a sticky situation. So,
so what you do is plan for the designated space between each parking space, which is typically 5 feet minimum. So
Yep.
you might do a space, 5 foot in a space, so 2 parking
yeah.
spaces could share 1.
Yeah.
And then you could do
Yeah.
2 share another 1.
Yeah.
Just separate them, maybe
Yeah.
keep them at 8 feet, because 8 feet would be van accessible. So
Yeah,
that-
yeah.
that'd actually be almost 2 extra spaces added to this that would be marked off, no one parks there, you don't have to put any handicap signs up. So, until that time, it's
Yeah.
necessary, but at least they're
But
they're all
these
built.
spaces would be designated for these 4
only
units,
anyways,
not
to
for
get in
anybody
there, so it
else.
wouldn't be
Yeah.
for anybody else,
It's
but,
for them.
you know, there are moments when, yeah.
Handicap spaces. Now, unit size, are we going with what we show here, or what was?
I don't know what you're looking at.
What did we, what
This
did we,
is-
what did
Oh,
we
that was
say?
the old.
What
This
we-
was an old plan that was given to us back in
We
the day.
went, I
I don't even know if it's handicap, I mean, like the bathrooms.
I don't know what we gave, when we went to the CPC originally with a,
That's a plan I generated.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
It is handicap
all right,
accessible.
so the room, it appeared to be based on the
Yeah.
layout of the bathroom, you fit, you have circle.
and we went to them and we told them how many square feet each unit would be, and that's how much money
Mhm.
we pegged it at and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So I don't know if it's 500,
We
490,
did not know. We-
yeah. And I,
75.
you know, if we need to get a variance on that, I don't think that's a non-starter, but,
Yeah.
just, except for a month of time it takes to do it.
Does that tell you how much square feet in each unit?
It doesn't per se, but
What was it, 20,
24 by 48 divided by 2,
and it has that 6
plus another 12 by 6 or 4, another 48 square feet. So it's...
24 by 48 plus what? Divided by 2, 24 by 48 is 2 units, right?
Right,
It's 600 right now, yeah,
yeah.
so it's close.
To pump it to 650 is,
No,
you add...
2 feet to
2
the end of the
feet.
building or something like that for the most part.
And you're there,
Yeah.
and that's a
Yeah.
non-issue. And I'm not even sure that's an issue anyway, because that only comes into zoning in the one category, which is planned unit development
Is
or
that what is,
something,
okay,
which we are not exactly.
no, all right.
So I think, you know, we
Yeah, it might be, yeah.
could argue our way around that, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think it's, I think there's adequate space in here
Mhm.
for what serves the purpose for a residential unit, so.
But I mean, that's something we can clarify fairly quickly with the building inspector.
All right. All right, so I'm thinking that the best
So if you needed more space, you could end up putting all this electrical and all that stuff instead of underneath, you could put it out at the end of one of the buildings, right, and have more space as the building and take up less living space, but that space would be for the utilities on the end of the building.
Oh, yeah, the town just has a minimum size requirement, floor area for each unit. These are a little smaller.
You
than
mean
what the-
livables?
I don't know if they get into the specifics, it just says
I'm trying to remember what it says, and I think it may actually say livable space.
Livable
It
space?
may exclude mechanical space,
All right.
which defeats your argument there, but.
But based on the layout of the structures, they've got plenty of room on the ends, either ends, if they needed to be.
Yeah.
Down the road,
Yeah,
if that comes up in the future, it's a minor change to the site plan. I don't think it would affect, if I can get everything else, walkways have adequate slope or minimum slope to get up to the front doors.
okay. Sounds good.
I
Anything more?
think that's it.
Good to go.
The only thing I noticed between this plan that you prepared and this, the grading on the back side of the buildings is lower than the front side, so you would have probably a few more steps coming off of the back landing. And
Yeah, well, that depends on what we do with grading. It
Yeah.
looks like we're moving a lot of dirt around anyway, so I think we can put that to where we need it to be.
yeah. Yeah, it's not too much, it's not much, the back end of the driveway is, far end by the sewer manhole at the very end. We'll bring about 2 feet of fill up. In the front where the structures is, it's about 2 feet, and then it varies elsewhere. Pretty close to grade, just trying to match what's there. So there's not much grading. You're a little 3 feet on the end of the building, the far end, but,
Yeah, okay, yep.
or a little higher, yeah, it's closer to 4 at that far end. So yeah, there's some fill that's gonna be, definitely
Yeah, we had 16.
16 and 12, 16 and 11 out front.
Yeah, so you're filling 5 feet over
Yeah.
on that right hand.
Just right on that right corner there.
Right
Just
corner, yeah.
Yeah.
The rest of it just looks like you're straightening out grades
Yep. Exactly.
for the most part.
So unit B and C,
That's
is
the
there an A and
third
B in here somewhere?
It's
Oh,
A, B, C.
C, D, okay,
Yep,
I'm
yep,
sorry.
yep.
Thank you. All right.
All right, and I think that I would just have to double check on the grading to get the handicap to work. So you probably have some type of porch in the front that's level with first floor, and then they go down from there.
Yeah,
All right.
you need a 1 in 20 walkway to get to.
Yeah, yep. So, all right. I'll plan for that, because right now the grade would have to come up higher to make that work.
Did you look at parking in the right of way, or towards the Sandwich?
Parking towards where?
Sandwich Road?
I could look at an option where we slide,
Because then you'd be on the uphill side,
be a lot easier.
it'd be a lot easier.
So-
Also would preserve more of the site for, should we want to do something in the future.
All right. Yeah, I could look at that option and give you that option to, because I'm almost flip-flopping house structure and driveway to make that work
Yeah,
and provide the parking in the front.
right now you're parking in the back, have to go through in
Have to
between,
go up slope to get.
and then you're teeing off.
Yep,
Yeah.
all right, I can do that. I think I was trying to preserve some of the setback off the street, but.
Well, the setback doesn't apply to parking, it only applies.
No, yeah, I think structure-wise,
Only applies to the structure.
yeah.
And 30 feet is what we're dealing with there?
Zoning setback. Yeah, 30 feet, yeah. Because they'd be considered other residential use, MR 30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's usually 20, 10, 10.
Right. and the
But
third-
because of the amount of units on the property, I think it'd be considered other residential use, because
Okay.
it's more,
Don't disagree.
yeah. So that's why it's 30 and 20.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's not a big deal, we have plenty of room. If I could look at that as an option and just, I guess maybe before we do any final plans, or
Sure.
just so, run that option by you guys.
Sure.
You let us know, hey, we prefer this one versus that one. Both have pros and cons, so
Mhm.
they have to be thought of.
Finances is the primary cost to me.
Probably doesn't make any difference.
Probably won't make much difference, probably. I think it may require similar amounts of fill and grading. I think the house itself would be similar. Setting the house back, grades are pretty much low in the back. You'd still have call it a walkout basement, but it'd be like a walkout crawl space, depending on what we do in the front.
That would be good, walkout crawl space.
Hmm?
That would be good for maintenance, walkout crawl space.
We'll call it lower enclosure, so you could build something 6 feet tall or right now we're gonna worry about getting from the parking space to the structure.
Yeah,
Because the higher you go on the parking, the structure, the higher the fill in the front would have to go up so that you get the grade to work.
Yeah.
Right now, based on handicap, the grading wouldn't work because I have maybe 16 and a half out in front of the structure right now as a finished grade, which puts the top of foundation about a foot higher than grade. And then the finished floor is probably close to a foot higher. So there's 2 foot elevation difference between the grade and the first floor that would have to be made up with
Okay.
more grading or some type of ramp or walkway to make that work.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
I could reach out to Bill directly if we want
Please
to
do.
talk about the material, because grades and close to the foundation, top of foundation, we'll have to come up with something that,
I can deal with some of that with the foundation detail, because it's,
could do a drop sill or something like that,
Yeah.
maybe? All right. Okay. That's
that
better.
when you're trying to get in with
Yep.
a handicap situation, you usually wind up with something like that.
Okay. That's fine, that's perfect, yeah.
Okay,
So I have my task, so.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you guys can think of that you want from me, or?
I'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, thank
All right,
you.
all right. Thanks for having me here
Yeah.
and clarifying what you guys want.
1 Johnson Street.
Yeah, I got it all, I did some updated survey just to show some coastal banks.
Okay.
I'm gonna reach out to Guy and get that, so I
Okay.
know which direction I'm heading on, septic or sewer.
Separate matter.
Another project we're working with.
Best of luck.
All right,
Thank you, Brad.
yeah, we'll keep in touch and I'll get something to you soon after the holiday.
Thank you.
All right.
Are these yours or?
You guys can have those, I mean, do you need them?
No, because we have.
Oh, you have one?
The
You
one.
have the same one?
Yeah.
All right. I'll just take this one back.
I think that could show my husband something like that. He's gonna make it look, he likes it.
Okay, you keeping that?
I'm gonna keep
We have plenty.
Yeah.
We have plenty.
Okay, yeah, I just wanna.
They're just going to trash
You're gonna
otherwise.
keep that?
That was just like.
Yes, she's
You're
gonna.
gonna keep that?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, good. All right, thank you.
All right, thanks again. Have a nice holiday.
All right, you too.
Okay, so let me know that we have a resident participation. All right, so we'll go back to old business, review and approval of the regular minutes of the previous meeting.
Are we gonna have resident participation here?
She was participating. She
What?
can participate, yeah. Do you want to participate now or throughout? Do you have anything?
No, just, I'm paying attention.
She's an observer.
She's observing, okay.
Okay,
She
so,
came in later, I didn't know if she had, Something she needed to say.
You'd asked me to check up on the electrical stuff, so, for the solar thing, so I didn't know if you wanted me to follow up with that.
oh, you got a comment now on it?
No, actually, I sent all the stuff to Jackie, so I don't know
All
if there's any more that I need to do to
So we'll get back,
follow up with that.
we'll get back to you on that, all
Okay,
right? All right,
so
so
then I can go.
on the minutes, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Can you call me tomorrow?
I can do that. Here. Oh, this, what do you call it? Share.
Candies.
Yeah, well, they're bite size and they're portion controlled, so they're not gonna hurt anybody.
There you go.
so you take it.
motion to accept the
Merry
minutes.
Christmas.
Motion
See you
to
later.
accept the minutes
And I'll
of the
second
previous
it.
meeting.
Okay.
Second,
I second.
any further discussion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion to ratify and approve signing of the warrants, you have them right there? Okay. Moved by Bill, seconded by Jean. Any
Signed by both
discussion?
of us.
Did you, we got 3 signatures on that?
No. we
No,
don't-
you need to be the third.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, so this is what payroll and business, okay,
Yeah.
good. All right, so, okay, so Brad's gone, we did A and B. Now we'll do the administrative report.
2 vacancies carried forward. We rented one in Agawam. We have one remaining in Agawam, almost ready to be turned over to be rented. We have 4,287 applications total, 727 are resident, 3560 are non-resident. Work orders, 1 unit turnover, 1 monthly maintenance, 1 tenant request, and the trees at Redwood. So, just so you understand, we always at this time of year, there's a little bit more because of our thermostats, that motor issue that I talked about last month. So we do have a little extra work orders than we normally would, and some plumbing issues, but that's basically it. The annual agreed upon procedure are completed. Oh. Okay.
You're right.
I just left that in there from last month. We are still working on FY '21, almost completed with that as well. We do need a vote for the contract for financial assistance in the amount to accept $191,825 for contract number 12. So we need a board vote to accept that funding.
So,
What is contract number 12?
It is I'm sorry, it's page 11.
Page 11? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was on 4. Way off.
No, 4 is.
No, we are
we're on
talking about
4.
4, but the contract.
But the contract
we're
for
discussing
financial
is on-
It looks
Is on
Okay.
11,
All right.
Which is the last page.
which is the last page.
All right, so,
And
It just shows the total amount they've given us since they started contract number 1 through contract number.
okay, so is this a specific project, Jackie?
This particular money is going for 5 years out. So it'll be combined with other funding that is picked up along the way, like projects that we came in under budget. We scoop that money up and we push it forward to make sure we have enough money to go forward. It's a Wizard of Oz
so it's a 5-year,
compilation.
it's a 5-year,
Wizard of Oz
It
compilation?
is a Wizard of Oz
Is that the
compilation.
technical term for that?
That's my
it's a 5-year
interpretation.
plan.
It's a 5-year plan, and that's what we're allocated, but at the same time, let me give you an example. We had a 5-year plan 5 years ago. I said, let's put in the windows. Somehow when the money showed up, we just got the work order for phase 2 of windows, we just finished phase 1. And somehow $300,000 was in that bucket. Now, it's a head scratcher, because I'm like, how do we get, it was 191
yeah.
from that. We were gonna allocate all of it. So from 5 years ago, and now 5 years out, we got 300. I'm not complaining.
And we still have 191?
Oh yeah, this is future money.
This is going forward.
This is going forward
This is all they're gonna give us for the...
for 1 year.
For 1 year.
For 1
Okay.
year. And so every time they give us money, they do a contract change. So sometimes, so this is an FY '25 funding,
Okay.
for 191,825.
So the CFA is contract funding amount? Is some-
Contract for
Contract of
financial
financial
assistance.
assistance,
Okay,
We
Number
signed a
12.
contract with DOD,
Yeah.
THCD for the,
then it becomes like, we have that money,
okay.
you know.
So we moved from having available 3 million to 3,195,000.
right, now it's allocated.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Okay.
All right.
So the new CFA is 3,195,342.
Can I make a motion to accept the funding?
Go ahead.
I just made it.
I'll second
Motion
it.
made, seconded by Jean.
One of the crowd.
Well, it's a, vote and approve and acknowledge the certificate of completion.
Oh, that's,
So now we're voting,
no, we're voting just for the
we're
contract.
voting to accept the
The-
contract with the Commonwealth for number 12 for 191,825.
Yes.
That's what you,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I...
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye, aye, aye.
Okay.
Capital infrastructure projects, we, along with meeting windows changed, there are two very important projects that we need done that I would recommend. One is sewer piping in Redwood. We had that inspection and the engineering done. He came up with a plan, presented to the state. We have been actively looking for funding for that. So some of the remaining projects that we just completed, that we had balances, we pushed that to that particular project. Or we are going to push that into the project if the board so wishes, along with the remaining ARPA funding that we got for 191,825. We had 67, we need about 125 more. We just put in, and I just got a letter back from the state that they will review the plans and give us an answer, which I believe it'll be positive, that they will allow us, so that can proceed forward. And if we have the money, then we will be looking for other projects, but we have other projects in the queue, so to speak, waiting to come up to the top to be given a specific project number. Once the state gives it a specific project number, then they're going to fund that project. So we broke the windows up into specific projects. So if they give us the funding and all goes well, then that will be separate from planning what we want to do with the money. We also need to change the fire panel here at Agawam Village. Definitely needs to be upgraded. The parts are obsolete, although it still works. Eventually, if something goes wrong, we're going to need to replace it. And preventative maintenance, like I said to them, why are we waiting for the sewer to fail? The main line definitely is in need of replacement almost yesterday. We're not quite there yet, but between Guy Campina and our company, we have been taking very good care of it. Plus the amount of money, recently not, but previous, that we spend Bass Ready Rooter to clean out our lines and clear our lines of blockages due to use, tenant use. Flushing things that should never be flushed in a toilet, wipes,
Do we have a root problem?
and we have many root problems.
What's the material? Clay pipe? Or is it PVC?
Some of it's asbestos. piping, so I don't know what the technical term for that is. If there was asbestos material, clay piping where it literally is disintegrating. And there's a lot of it. There's specific some buildings, you know, so, you know, F building, B building, C building, A building, all will need to be taken care of and replaced. So that only leaves, we've already, you know, one line of H building's been done recently, well, 7 years ago, but all of the others, so that leaves like 2 buildings, and why would we replace 85% of the development without just getting the last 2 in order to everybody be on the same page? And then,
So you're saying we just have two out of how many buildings left to fix?
no, we have 2 buildings that are not failing,
Oh,
but the rest are. And the main line is worse failing. So the main line that goes from the main trunk to the pump house, there's a big problem there.
Well, there goes that money.
Well, we have it put away,
I know,
it's in the
I know.
capital money, so, and we're begging for more, and hopefully powers that be do us. So then, the windows need to be finished, and then we have little projects. The little projects that are in the queue are to re-key our keys for Redwood. Agawam got all new doors and they got rekeyed, and the keys are still valuable and work very well. This particular one, they just are old, wearing down. Abbey Glass is terrific because they have a great machine to copy keys. They do a great job, and we are babying them because eventually, and we just put in a couple of buildings at a time, so it's not a huge cost to fill in, to use that amount of money that's left over. And then anything that you can suggest. Because then after all of the buildings are secure, because Agawam is, we're now working on Redwood, the roofs were done as we remember, and now the windows, if they can get completed. The basements look great over in Redwood. The piping is an issue. It's getting old, but I would like also then our big push is to get Agawam paved and curb cutted with sidewalks to make it less, for people to be able to walk safely.
Could you come up Great Neck Road?
Exactly.
They come out 60 miles an
Well,
hour.
sometimes they come around this corner in the summertime. The kids leaving Oakdale wanting to get to Onset, they'll zoom here, and even though it says, you know, they just don't listen. They're used to it, this is their families, they've been around forever, their grandmother lived here. I stopped them and talked to them. I said, because we gotta slow down. You know, we put out little cones, we put signs, we do everything we can, you know. I like those natural speed bumps. I call them natural because they're slow, they go up, they flatten out, and they come down. That are put in on pavement. I think that would benefit our community here a lot, you know. And that's that for that. So if anyone has any other
do
suggestions?
we have a list of, you indicated you have a list.
I do have a list, yes.
Have we seen that list?
You have seen it in the past, you haven't seen it. I should have prepared it, and I will email it to everybody.
Oh, okay.
And one other question, I'm sorry, Bill, you did ask in one other time if we get inspected. I have to tell you, we have been inspected for the last 2 big capital improvement projects by the town. They have come out and they have inspected, and I got copies of their permitting signed off by everybody. So just, that was a question that you had 2 meetings ago. And I meant to.
Regarding which?
The windows and then the door, the ADA door.
So you're putting windows in all of the units, or?
In Redwood, yes.
Oh, in
Well,
Redwood.
no, I mean, we did building C in the community building. Now we have money. They're hoping to get, how they wrote the work order, which I thought was brilliant for the first time, you know, is we have this amount of money, how many windows can we get? Because we already know what it costs to do one building, and the contractors know that, so we're probably gonna get 2 buildings out of that big $300,000 money. so we can get 2 more buildings, so then we'll have 3 buildings, and we'll just eke away when we can at that project, instead of having the big amount of money to do them all at once.
Mhm.
And it, unfortunately, because of the location, the requirements by the town, we had to put in the hurricane windows just like this.
What?
We had to, not hurricane, we had to put in the barriers on the bottom of the windows. Not the hurricane part with the thing, only in the community room, it did have the hurricane windows. Because we're in a complete flood zone, A1, whatever that is, they made us put in those windows.
Who did?
The state,
I should read their code.
right, I don't even know why they put them in. They didn't put these in, they're different.
These have retention clips.
Yeah, there's no retention clips over there,
Yeah.
but that barrier is there,
Where?
What-
Over there?
in Redwood. In the-
What
in the-
barrier?
See in the bottom, that windowsill, see, remember how the windows used to come right down flat to the
Oh,
windowsill?
that little border
Yeah, there's
underneath
a,
the...
there's a barrier, this barrier is over there in Redwood. Not the cliff,
You're
Yes.
talking this here.
yeah, that part right
I
there.
can't see
I
what
see
you're
what you're
pointing at.
talking about.
What are you pointing
But I don't
at?
know what you're talking about.
I don't know what it's called.
I don't know why we're getting this sort of.
That's a special window because of what?
Because it's a community room,
Here.
I see
Right.
that was the point.
and it's the 200-mile-an-hour wind.
Okay, so the
But
window...
Or
there is
whatever,
no
the 100
requirement, there's no requirement for a 200-mile-an-hour wind. In fact-
In this zone,
No,
okay.
that's just nonsense.
So in what about the other place? We don't have it
Who
over there?
who would-
I think I
who
will
who
double
advised
check
us on this?
to Mass State DHCD.
Was it our cat people?
No,
That's not an our
no,
cat thing?
that's, this is not an RCAT job,
This is the
this is
mi- the-
DHCD job.
This is the construction people in DHCD.
Yes,
They said because it's a high
high winds.
hurricane wind zone, we needed...
Something about being the public areas had to have that kind of window. Now, again, I don't know, so when we get the work order, when we get the specs, I'll make sure you get a copy so you can just look at the specs to make sure we need it.
It's too late now.
Because
Oh, I
they,
can't do it in now, but going forward, we could do that.
yeah, as you're paying 3 times the amount for the window that we need to pay.
Right, okay.
Is it only that little piece of wood in the bottom that you're
Yeah.
talking
No,
about?
plus those, well, plus the other ones.
No, we don't have,
This is-
Yeah,
those
no.
fixtures are not there, those
Yeah, well,
clips.
But those
But
fixtures are probably expensive.
But you're,
It's that bottom,
you're getting that bottom piece because the construction of the window is
Oh, okay.
deficient.
so
So they
need
have
that
to
keep the...
do a remedial piece to make the window
Won't
come
blow
alive.
in.
Yes.
So that costs more.
Even though these are high wind windows?
You don't need high wind windows.
Well, okay.
So
I
the
will,
Well, I would think that you had to,
The state
in
looked...
this, the people come in here,
State-
if there's some sort of a problem, you know, hurricane or something, they come in here, don't they?
Yeah, no, the refuge
Yeah.
area, but.
or they,
So
or
the
they,
state looked at the
So I would
plans that
think
we
you
got
want
from the...
something.
no,
Oh,
no.
no.
State
You
created
do.
the plans.
Yeah.
They created the plan and required this from
But that
the...
little piece of
the
wood is real
get-go.
expensive?
Yes.
This looks like much
What
more
else
wind,
is-
oh, 6, no, 8.
No, they're the same size windows that we had
Yeah,
before.
no, I'm just saying, they just all have that bottom piece on them.
They
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
But
it's-
I would think it's appropriate for what this room is used for.
For the public rooms, but
Yeah.
not for the individual ones, not for the living
No.
quarters.
Oh, no.
I will find out why that's there.
Yeah, if you would, it
Yeah.
makes no.
Okay.
I'm just
No
looking
problem.
here, Jackie, I'm just looking here. I don't see the invoice for the
State code
computer.
doesn't require
The
it.
state...
Oh, no, because I don't have.
Yeah, I would think this
Don't
room
have
though.
what?
The
You know, 'cause
computer.
we've had
So
some
there's no bill?
some
So
things,
we're
I
saying
don't know,
buy it.
storms or
We're gonna
whatever.
buy it
and A lot of people have come in
So
here
we're paying...
and stayed here a
the
while. I
cost
think it was
of
one
what it's gonna
snowstorm.
be.
I brought in, oh, that's when
Yeah.
you
So you
got
need the check
generator, I
before?
think.
Absolutely, because I'm not laying out my money.
No, I
and
don't
what
expect you
getting.
to, but so they wouldn't send the bill, they wouldn't bill the housing authority? Okay,
They no longer do that
all right.
unless you only online. I'm so sorry.
This
He's
is
looking
about
at the
this-
bill for the computer.
There's no bill
There's
here
no bill,
for the computer,
right, so
Staples.
I went and researched it, talked to the manager, talked to the tech manager. Normally, all of our stuff is purchased, we get it before we pay for it under certain circumstances. So we used to have a credit in store that you could do, which I didn't even know we could do that. But in order for us to get that, we have to pay for it first.
So my
And I'll get
question
the
was,
invoice.
we got a check for $1,080 in, for a new computer, and I don't see anything for the computer. It's just
No, because we cannot,
warranty.
right. We're just getting the.
But
it
you
really
can't
isn't-
get, you can't get
it's
like a bill from them or a printout of what you're buying? Say this is what it's gonna cost, how do they come up with that price? They must,
I went there and I saw the price.
yeah, but, and they can't say this is the price on their stationery, because, oh, I'm just saying it's strange. But that's,
Well, no, because they just did this whole thing in Staples where there's online ordering or in-store, and they're not the same company anymore
when you go there.
when you go there.
So online
I didn't
ordering,
know this.
so online ordering, what's the difference here?
Online ordering, we don't have an account with them, and it's,
So you couldn't online order it, so you
Correct.
went there face to face and ordered it.
right.
So they want to check for you to come and pick up this thing.
Correct.
Okay. So that's what we're
Makes
doing
sense.
here.
And get the nonprofit
Yeah,
status.
you want to look at it before you buy it.
Yeah, so you saw it.
No,
It's gonna
apparently
be
she
that
did look-
price.
apparently she did look at it.
I went and I
She went there and looked
researched
at
it,
it.
I
That
looked
would
at it and
make
said,
sense.
that's, we talked about, different speeds. I
Yeah.
personally don't like 5G, but we are here to
But that's
stay.
what they,
It's
that's
very
what they,
difficult, so I went and looked and see which was best for the housing authority. This
And they
particular one is,
they quoted
It
this
was-
price for that thing. This is
You-
the price that,
is
they
the,
quoted.
for that product.
for that.
It's $839 with a $240 fee, which includes firmware protection.
Well, see, that's what
The
I'm looking for.
transfer-
We don't have a thing showing that,
Right.
like an.
But when I pay for it, I'll get all that.
Yeah, but you got it now, but we don't have it here. Where is it? Just in your head?
No, on the paper there's two forms for this firmware.
This is tax exempt shopping.
Yeah, so I got that. That's for our tax exempt.
Right, I know
And then
that.
that's for what we're getting, as far as on the back is the price list. But that number includes, the $240 includes the ability for us to transfer all our data.
Yeah, that's all I'm
Yeah.
looking for, is an itemized thing that you should have to show that comes to
It's very
1079.
difficult. There are things now that are very difficult, like even some of our plumbing parts. That's why we pay for it out of pocket and then we get reimbursed, because we cannot get it any other way.
I guess we're not, all I'm asking is, looking for is, you got a price here of $1,079.
Right.
And I'm looking for some sheet that says,
There
this
is
is
no
what,
sheet to be had.
you create one, or
But
they
you're gonna
create.
get
they-
one, right?
I could have created one, but.
They sit there and say, this computer's gonna cost 800, this is 200 for the,
Basically, we should be rather than signing a check for a defined number, we should be writing a check for a range.
No,
No?
that's the exact
That's the
number.
exact number, and it'll be that
Yeah.
number when you go.
It'll be that number when I go there, whenever the check gets signed to order it, and then we make an arrangement for us to bring my old computer in for them to
and
transfer.
I got all that, all I'm saying is, if they arrived at this
They
$1,079 thing,
didn't, when I went to the store, it wasn't like they arrived at it. I
It's-
went to the store and they said, this one is
right, here
$839.
it is. It's like,
this
it's
one's-"
like on display, and
Right.
this is what it costs.
Right.
So, and what goes with, what comprises this 1079? The computer is
$839
Okay, so,
and $240, so I have the thing for $240.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Somewhere they could produce something saying, here's the price of the computer, $879, it's $240 to this, and then say, you gotta give us a check for that amount.
Well,
Right now-
this is our fourth computer, 1, 2, 3, and now 4 computers that I've done this way. I didn't think it was a
I
big,
don't remember.
because the other times I laid out the cash and got reimbursed.
Yeah, I don't want you to lay out the crash. I'm just looking for something that says, what are we
Laid down
getting
out
for
of
this?
operating capital, right?
I'm sorry?
Out of Housing Authority operating capital, you laid it out.
No, I laid it out personally
Personally.
and got the
And then we
receipts
and then we
and then
reimburse
got
it.
reimbursed from the
Yeah.
housing authority. So this time
Yeah,
I just didn't.
No, I don't want you to lay out your money. I'm
There's
just-
no other way, when I went, I didn't even think to ask them because they wouldn't have been able to get that in a format. And I guess unless I asked them specifically to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you go to the counter and say, listen, I want that computer, how much is it, 8 something? And what else comprises this 1079? And they'll tell you some kind of a document
And
that
because
says
it's
this is
written
what
out
you're
to
gonna get.
Staples, right, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that's all.
I never even thought that they would do
Well,
that.
that's, I mean, it's just, to me, it's just
Not,
common
it's
sense
not
doing
common
business.
sense. It's not common sense, because most places would have the opportunity to get that without having to get a invoice first.
I'm not looking for an invoice.
But-
You go
Well-
to buy a car, and they say, here's the printout, it costs this, you add this and add this, and they give it to you, and then you go arrange financing or whatever you do. But you know what you're getting for the ultimate price of the thing, sales tax.
Right, I
all this
know
shit.
what I'm getting for the.
But we
ultimate
don't.
price, But you don't.
Yeah, but
Correct.
that, we should know, that's all I'm saying.
All right,
And I'm assuming taxes included there. Well, we're
No
No
tax, no tax.
no tax, because the
Tax
tax
exempt.
exempt paperwork is there.
See, I
Because you have to
understand,
do tax exempt status in the store now.
see, I understand what you're saying, and I understand, but you're adhering to what they tell you or what you believe, and you say, listen, I'm gonna buy this, make up something that shows me what it's gonna cost.
Okay.
And three items
So I
equals
can take this to my board and get approval to do it.
Huh? Yeah, but I mean,
I got the
what if it
approval.
what if it costs less, or what if it costs more, or what if something else changes? You know what I mean? It's just not that, like we bought the truck, it cost X dollars, and this
Right,
is,
but we knew right then and there what
it was an itemized thing, it wasn't like, we're gonna
When you
get
spend
a,
$57,000 and you're spending $1,000.
that doesn't
it's
matter
different.
whether it's 57,000
From
or
a governmental
2,000.
perspective, it is matters.
No, it ain't.
Yeah, because it's
No.
only the governmental perspective, because you go to Staples, or you go to Walmart, you don't say, well, can you give me a printout of my toilet paper? You go, eat the thing, you do it, and you get a
Yeah, but
receipt.
Well, they had something on the computer when you looked at it. You're talking about additional charges.
No.
No, I'm talking about that.
It is not on the computer, this is my problem.
No, I mean,
display.
you went to look at it and
It's
had a price on it.
It's a
Right.
display,
And that's
it's
what
like
it
when you,
is.
Display.
it's like when you go into Verizon and you see 47 models of telephones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you say, I wanna
You
buy
already
this one, and they'll
signed
tell you
checks.
how much it'll be, and they can.
And then
go
you
through the
just, no, you
computer.
just pay for it and you walk out.
Yeah, but in this case.
We don't have
'cause
that
we're in
ability.
business, because we're in the business, we say, can you give me a printout, tells me what I'm gonna be paying for this
Because the
computer?
amount of, how many transactions that are like this are very few.
I hear what
So
you're
I
saying.
try hard to find
I'm not,
replacement parts that we can order
I'm
through
not
Home Depot,
questioning the work
Walmart.
you did to
Yeah.
get this price, I'm just questioning, they gotta be able to present people with an itemized thing to say, this is what it's gonna cost, like when you buy a car, this is what it's gonna cost, period. It's not just 25,000 and there's the truck, it's all what it comes with, you know what I'm saying? Huh? Jackie? Jackie, do you
But
know
I
what I'm
hear you,
saying? All
I
right.
hear you.
Thank you,
Yes.
okay, so we're done, right?
Yeah, loud and clear. That is my normal operating procedure, is to get that. Every single item, we always get it before we pay for it.
I get it,
This we didn't. This I didn't.
that's all I'm saying.
Yep. So, we still, the last item on the admin report is we're still working out the details of our sick policy. And we will amend in the future if needed be. And that ends the administrator's report.
Okay. Motion on the administrator's report? Was that the administrator, everything,
I mean,
infrastructure?
no,
everything?
not the infrastructure part, just the administration part.
Okay.
Motion to accept the administrator's report.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion, all in favor? So carried.
So the infrastructure report, Matt Mitko will be giving us a one-day tree cutting service. And we're very excited. We have some limbs that definitely need to come down over in Redwood. He's supposed to be here probably at the end of next week. So I did go on the 13th to speak to the Affordable Housing Trust. They're gonna send a formal letter to the board requesting, and they will come and give a presentation. They want us to help with a rental assistance program that they can do, which is a qualified program under their umbrella. I told them that there would be a fee involved. I said you have to speak to the board and you have to present it formally to them.
Meaning us?
Yeah, and it's not until next fiscal year, probably a year from now, or a little less than
I
that.
wish you told me, I would've gone with you.
Yeah.
Because what my thoughts are on Affordable Housing Trust, they're gonna create a bucket for rental assistance to pay
Well,
rent for
apparently,
people.
let me just back it up, okay? So apparently when they made the deal, when the town made the deal with Woodland Cove, somehow there was a rental assistance program put into that deal through the Affordable Housing Trust. I don't know the details,
Well,
but just what they said.
the
And this is a
affordable
whole new board, so they're like, this is what we gotta work out,
Oh, their board.
Affordable Housing Trust.
Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, they didn't exist, or they were
Well, they didn't meet.
moribund recently. They did-
Moribund meaning non-existent? Yeah.
Effectively
Effectively
non-existent.
non-existent. You're absolutely
the
right,
one
but apparently
Stephen's
they got new life into them.
And presumably, so,
There's a select woman, I can't quite remember her name, and she's on that.
Whiteside?
No, the other woman,
Oh,
The new one.
the new one.
she's pretty good. Is it Patricia or,
Yeah, very nice.
Curtsy
And then
or- I can't remember.
Carl.
Yeah, so they put
They've got a whole life that has, they breathe
Okay.
new life into them.
they made a deal to provide rental assistance to that residence going
Right.
in there.
Right,
So
but
they
that,
wanna do one
then
for
they
the
said,
town.
why don't we have a rental assistance program for?
Did they say
town?
how that's working and how?
They have not done it yet.
Okay.
But
So are they saying they would like us to do this as well?
Well, so the one for Woodland Cove has nothing to do with us.
Right.
They are going to be, Woodland Cove will be doing that,
Yeah.
along with the Affordable Housing Trust.
Yep.
But then they thought, well, let's just have a Affordable Housing Trust rental assistance program.
Which they can do with their money.
Has the Affordable Housing Trust been to the CPA
They,
looking for funding?
We just had, they might have.
yeah,
The
they,
I think we talked about it last week.
Community Preservation can do a rental assistance program.
See,
just looking at things, they
CPC
don't
and
have to
Affordable
commit.
Housing Trust have an
Everybody's
agreement.
coming before us.
They get money
Starting
from,
with the next
yeah.
meeting.
They do get money from CPC, and part of the regulation with CPC is that the Affordable Housing Trust does not have to go to town meeting to get the votes to deal with their money. So they get a portion of the money from, whether or not it's every year, every so many years, there's just a portion of the money from CPC that goes to Affordable Housing
But for
Trust.
CPC to give them the money, they have to go to town.
No, no.
Correct.
Right. And then once the
No, that
Affordable
doesn't
Housing
sound-
Trust has it, they follow the,
Designated amount of
the plan.
of the CPC funds.
Yeah, but my
goes into
point
the
is-
Affordable housing bucket.
You're gonna have
It has to go out of that bucket to go to the Affordable
rental
Housing
assistance
Trust.
program. Who's
You have to come in and
who's
ask.
gonna-
Yeah, it's
You have
not,
to make a
that's not an audit,
presentation,
that's not an
whether you
automatic
go before
goal.
the
bucket.
board
Rent
of
they
the
Well, that's what,
town
And-
or not.
Are they asking us to
It has
do
to
that?
they will act formally,
And
they're
then
not
you can do it.
asking
But I
us
don't understand
now.
what
No, but
they
I'm
want
just
from us.
asking
They are
how
gonna
it's
ask
gonna
us
work.
to
They're
do
helping
that,
us.
Yeah,
with a
I don't
fee
thi-
involved.
I think they're
We
looking
will
for us
make
to
money
subsidize
out of that.
their scam.
Oh, good luck to them.
They can do that, they don't have to do that with us
I mean, we should be
for
going to them
tenants in
with
here.
money.
They would do that with
Precisely.
some
And
tenant
we have,
that's
and
looking
what I'm
for
worried about
assistance
here
for
is
rent
that
at a
there's gonna be a
location
hole
in
the
town.
Affordable housing bucket.
Anyone
is the
in
way it has
town
been
could
for
apply.
That's
years.
right,
Yeah.
okay, so anyway, because I look at
It's been underfunded.
Yeah.
the
Traditionally.
veterans
It's supposed to be.
Yes.
in
10%
transition,
minimum.
who they're looking to put out, not these
It's
guys,
been
but
a min-max.
Eversource or Evergreen.
For
They're looking for
as long as
places that they
affordable
need
housing.
rental assistance for that
See,
It seems like
individual.
we're doing okay in our own.
They would,
you know, we're
apply
getting to
to
that point, I think.
them or us?
Since I've
or
arrived,
That's
there's
gonna be
been
worked out?
a lot of improvements
Mhm.
in the way we
Yeah.
perform.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's a great program and it's much needed in town.
And
Oh,
we're
yeah,
doing
but it's,
okay.
I'm just saying how much it's gonna work,
I
how
think
much
we're doing fine.
is needed for this tenant A.
All right, but
Yeah.
they're going to, those are the
It's not easy. This is another
details that they are working out. They're going to work out over the next 8, 10
Well, they're all
months
already.
before they go forth.
In place for this place.
And how much are they gonna, this could be a lot of money.
Well, they would get a certain amount of money a year and
That
then they
would
would
be
help with
subsidizing.
that. They would,
Yeah, and then you have to prioritize
Affordable
who gets it first, who's more needy, who's more
Subsidy.
desperate.
Also, they, are they offering
Well,
us,
they-
is that what
right.
we?
I had no idea what
It
the
would just be
offering
a
is.
A
a
subsidy?
minute,
That would
I mean,
be
there'd be
nice,
some borders
It would
on
be
that.
nice, but I don't,
But
I don't.
you always think there's a
Yeah,
back door.
it could be a bucket, it could be a bucket of worms.
Harwich Affordable Housing Trust
I'm
gives
sorry,
their money from the
somewhat
CPC
jaundiced.
and gives out a max of $350 a month. But they do it
Per
over
unit.
12 months.
Per unit.
Yeah, so if they like,
Well,
Mr. Smith
I don't know
needs
if they
help
are.
with his
But
rent, they
they-
get
they-
350 for a whole year.
Turned over quite a bit.
So it's a monthly stipend all year,
$350 bucks.
up to
Yeah.
350.
They hadn't.
So then he's
he didn't
gotta
have
find
anybody.
There was
another
the
source
fellow
if
from
he
the
needs
bank.
more.
If he
Yes,
needs more.
Steve,
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm trying to,
Right.
that's why I
We're
said I
talking
would
about
like
the same
to
one.
gone with you. I saw that in the thing, but I didn't
forget who
know.
else was
I
there.
think it came and went, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I went and
There
spoke
hadn't been anybody that
off the cuff with
Told
him.
me.
number of years, really.
I
Anyway,
think I actually did tell you, Bob. I did.
by what email?
Lost track.
Maybe.
No.
So
don't
where are they
count.
getting-
I think I might have called and left a message.
Don't
They're
count.
getting some from
Oh,
the
CPC.
Now I
from the
can
CPC.
talk to you.
They're getting some from the
But
chapter
anyway, so
40
that's what they
Million.
need to know a lot more about what they
developers.
do
Okay,
before they get into
okay,
this.
got it.
Anyway, all
Okay,
right.
so just
Anything
to
more?
put, no, well, yeah, we got some more. Just to put so we have a capital improvement plan that we talked about earlier, and then we have an annual plan that takes in our PMR, which is our program management review, our capital improvement plan, the tenant surveys, and we have copies every year. We put them out for the tenants to take a look at. So that, we're also in our planning stages. We have to have a public hearing. We have designated for our February meeting to start with the public hearing for the annual plan. And I'm putting that in your ear now. So back to the capital improvement plan. We did meet with Kyle from RCAT, which is an RCAT program. They are the ones that do the physical work for DHCD on the capital improvement plan. So he's been here, he's inspected our basements and our open areas to see that what we're requesting for meets their own DHCD's and RCAT's goals to make sure we're stable and up and running and doing what we're supposed to do. So I talked about those 2 sewer lines and then the panel for the Agawam Village heat alarm system. And that's it. So the 31.7, we need a vote for substantial completion, and we also need a vote for final completion because they didn't put the paperwork early enough. So it's an absurd thing because the job is complete, so you have to vote for the substantially complete in order to get the final completion. So at the end, he can get his 5% retainage back. The job is completed, it's been inspected, it's working beautifully.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we have paperwork?
Yes, that's page 9, 10, and 11. Nine is I put the cart before the horse, so we have to vote for the substantial completion.
6.
So,
9 and 10.
10.
10 goes before 9.
Yep.
correct, 10 will go before 9, so we just need that substantial completion for 317043 C stair hall to exterior door. It is completed, been inspected. Vote to accept,
Where is it in this
number
list?
10, Bob.
No, on
Number
here.
10.
On this list.
Oh, it's,
Description of project, ADA exterior door upgrade.
You
yeah.
say
We're about
317043.
3043.
Okay, this
It's- It's, yeah,
Where's the number up here?
Let me see.
The number is, the actual number's not on this particular number 10, but they
Okay, that's why I couldn't
describe the
find it.
job.
Okay.
The number's not on this, huh?
No, but it's on the next page.
Well, there's a number up there, I don't know what that, 667-2.
That
That's
just
the-
means that's
that's
our
the project.
identifier of our,
That's project.
The fish number is what you're talking about, right?
right, 317
317043.
is not on the substantial completion.
Which is page
Oh, we can write it on there.
Page
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, it's page 10.
Okay, so we have a motion for, vote for substantial completion.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion for substantial
317043
completion.
door
I didn't know
replacement.
you were having a meeting.
that's okay.
I just wanted to tell you at Jeff's place,
Yeah,
it was a young person that went in there. Well, they left with all the lights are on, the doors open. I don't know what the heck's going on in there.
Jeff Mello or Jeff?
Huh?
Jeff Mello?
Mother?
Mello. Mr. Jeff, the guy that was on there? Yeah.
My friend that
All
passed
right.
away.
Oh, okay, so Mike may be in there working. There's a gentleman that's working there.
Yeah, I know the guys have been there, but this was somebody, yeah, it looked like a younger person. She got in the car and took off. Left all the lights and everything on.
All right, well, I'll go in and check in a little
I
bit.
don't know.
Okay,
Oh, well,
I'm sorry.
Who's that, here?
Motion, yeah,
okay.
motion made. Seconded.
For substantial completion on,
I
Oh,
did,
you
I
did
made,
second.
I made, okay, I'll second.
Oh, no, you made the
I
motion.
thought I made the
And
motion.
Bill Lockwood made the second, I'm so sorry.
I actually
voted?
didn't yet, but I will. Do we need to change the date?
No, we do not, that's put in because that was the actual date, but if you see these signatures down here, the architect designer just signed off on 12/2/22, so we didn't get it in the time. So we can't, we have to vote, I mean, we didn't, our last meeting had already passed before this was given
that's
to
what
us.
that says, 12/2/22?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Where does it say that?
Underneath self,
Got
okay,
it.
so under the approve the architect,
Yep.
There it is, yep.
12/2/22, that's when she signed off on the job.
Okay.
So-
So we're signing off on,
We're just making a motion.
Yeah,
but
so
we still
second.
have to fill this out, right?
Yeah, I have the original,
You have the original.
right.
All right, so we've got a motion made and
You the
seconded.
contract
All-
officer?
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, are you in favor, Bob? We'll be all set?
Yeah, we're all set. That was that one.
Now the final.
Motion to accept the final, certificate of final completion.
For 3140,
I'll second it.
Yes, for project 317043,
Okay.
ADA upgrades to.
what one was that one, 340?
No, 317, it's the
Same project.
same project, but one's a substantial completion and one is the final completion.
And authorized release of,
Final completion is page 10 or
Page 10.
page 9?
Page 9.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
We just need a vote.
Vote.
We did.
we did.
Oh, you did, okay. All right. Confused.
come on.
I am confused. Okay, okay,
More to
then,
go.
phase 1 window, we're waiting on the substantial completion paperwork for that. We do not have it yet, but when we do, we'll vote on that. It is substantially completed. And they are, their inspection, the inspection from the town, been completed. Okay, so then we did talk about the sewer job. So we're, you know, we have an update, which I just got today, so I updated that and I will reflect that on my report. The floods, the job is complete, my plans are with the state.
These, I want to back up
Okay,
just
go
a
ahead.
second.
What number are
here.
you on? What
Page,
Up in the
we're on-
corner.
Page 4.
Page 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there, I'm on 4.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the phase 1 window replacement. I'm noticing here that, again, we're talking about hurricane reinforcement.
Yep.
So we won't be able to have window air conditioners.
we will only be able to have the removable one. We'll be able to have air conditioners, but they're the ones, the wheelie ones.
Okay.
So there are air conditioners that now are very easy to install, that don't hurt our windowsills, don't hurt the window frames.
Yeah,
They just have a panel,
Yeah.
you stick the panel in, and the panel adjusts to all different sizes. Because of that fortification right there, that's what I was told, it was hurricane fortification, but it may not. I will find out what it truly is.
well,
You can't- we have to
I don't
build out-
disagree that
Right.
that's what that's there for.
Right.
The disagreement is that it needed to be there in the first place. But the way that those.
Okay.
Through, now, are we gonna have to provide the rolling air conditioners to these
No.
people?
No,
So they have to provide their own,
yeah.
which most people wouldn't have. They would want to bring in.
There's a
their-
lot
Bring
more.
their window air conditioner from home.
Right, but the problem
Wait
with
a
the window air conditioner
Are you
is,
saying they're gonna put these nice windows in every unit?
yes,
Wow.
but not, they don't have the clips.
Oh, the clip?
Yeah.
They don't have the clips.
But they're new
They
windows.
just have the fortification.
Oh, okay.
And now you're
Well,
talking
is that
about
better?
the air conditioner, which you can't put in the window.
I'm still confused.
Right,
I would
so
like-
if you see that, what happened is like, so not, in the old days, right, you had, you could put your AC in, and it's set right in that windowsill.
Yeah.
Now because of
What I'm
that,
saying is there are other ways to accomplish what they're accomplishing in a very
Well,
ugly,
let's-
non-useful fashion.
let's figure that out.
Yeah.
We will,
Who's,
we-
who specified these things?
Shenyan Lee from DHCD.
Is he the guy
And the
that's
arch-
doing
no, it's a woman.
China before communism? That they're advertising on TV all the time?
Is his name on any of this stuff in
You
here?
mean, Shenyan, yeah,
Yeah, but I'm sorry,
you're right.
Is his name on?
Yeah, she's actually a very, very nice woman.
Is
I'm
his-
sure she is.
Is her
I
name on any of
And-
this stuff here?
No, because she's the,
This isn't.
no, because we don't have the phase one window projects. We only have the door, so the architects are on this one. And Jan Booth Architects, who take the direction from DHCD, they're the ones that actually did
Okay.
it. Jim Smith,
So
in
yes,
Shenyan Lee.
Okay, Jim Smith.
yeah, so you're saying these windows have hurricane fortification, so they no longer be able to have any window air conditioning units.
Because, see, the lip,
Yeah.
it makes that
I see
AC.
Well, you're having to balance on the lip and damage the lip in the process.
Right,
I get it,
Right.
right.
I get that part of it. What I don't get is what it's doing there in the first place.
Well, let's just figure that out. Maybe it would.
Well, it's there now, right?
Yeah,
It should-
it's there now. We can't do anything about that.
It's a
But
fact
going
on-
forward,
Going forward, yes.
right,
It got by us. I don't know if we could have objected at
we
the
probably
time
could have objected it.
when they designed this from DHCD, but we wanted windows and they told you what you had to put in. Windows and doors
Correct.
in here, right? Or over there,
At both places.
both places.
Mhm.
We sat down with all these things
Yeah, but
too.
Jim Booth didn't design this. This was a complete DHCD thing.
Yeah, but we didn't, so who did we sit down and go through this stuff with? Nobody?
No, I'm
Oh,
sorry,
you
Jim
did.
Smith.
You had meetings with people?
Yes.
Okay, so we missed that because none of us were at those
I-
meetings.
Well, normally board members, I mean, you guys get the plan, you get the ability, and, I mean, I don't know what to say.
So that this was all in the plans that we
Yeah.
supposedly saw.
Every details, that's why they're 400 pages long.
Yeah, so there.
Mhm.
But
So
there were
I-
meetings on it, that's what I mean. Even if we got the plan, there were
No,
meetings on
it's
it.
very difficult now with the meetings, because of COVID, there's been no
Okay, so-
we request a meeting,
So
they'll have a
it's-
meeting.
So there were no meetings on?
Hopefully now we'll have meetings.
Yeah, never mind. But so there were no meetings on this situation?
There was,
We didn't have any board meetings
Right.
for a substantial and.
right,
Yeah, so this was all being done ongoing, and the only one that was in touch with him was you, with this big, long book of
right.
stuff. So,
Can I ask you a couple of questions? I mean, it sounds like they suggested these specific windows for this room. And now you're gonna be doing windows in units, is that correct?
We've already done windows and
But they're
units.
not the same as this?
No, they're not
So-
the same.
They have.
So what are we concerned about if
They
they,
have the bottom bare, they have the
We don't-
bottom
we
bar,
really don't-
but not the.
Right.
so there's no,
The non.
So they're not really
Having
hurricane
you trying-
windows,
the
they
people
probably
trying to
have
put
the
up
same price?
air conditioner in the window, but they
Oh,
can't.
Just assume rather
The
get out
difference
of
we're
the air
talking
window
about
anyways. We just
are
assume
the
get
four
away from
plastic-
the air window anyways.
And
Right.
quite ugly clips.
So what he's saying is they're
He's
gonna
concerned
wanna
that
put it
they
in.
wanna put, no, he's
I don't
concerned
know.
we should be.
We couldn't have
able
got those in white plastic, for instance?
No, I thought he was
Maybe,
concerned that they were
but you know
gonna,
what, maybe
try to
it's,
put the
if
square
you're sitting
in
in
the hole.
here,
They
and
can't
it's really
do it.
bad
They know they
outside and
can't.
you're old, you're probably very happy to have.
The tenant already knows
But-
that.
yeah,
You know,
I've
they
never seen.
won't, they can't try it to fit it in.
It will,
Yeah, I-
they
I
will,
don't
we
know.
will.
Break the
it just,
We will
I'm
either
looking
have
at
to
them saying, well, it
retrofit
makes
every
sense
air
in this room
conditioner.
because
No,
this
no,
is
I'm
where.
not-
Right, but I'm just telling you, that's what we're up against,
I'm
we already
saying-
told them, I already told
Whatever's
them.
going
You're
on.
saying you
I
told them, you're
don't
saying
know.
we can't do it, they
I
can't
don't
do
know
it,
that
but
we have
if one of them
impact
tries to
resistance
put it in and they
windows,
fuck
I'm
up
just
the
assuming
window,
it, if you're putting in
because
those
it's in
little
there and
windows,
it
you must
falls
put in
forward
good
because it's
glass.
outside.
Why
and
would you
it's
It's
do
no-
gonna fall outside the window,
Right, yeah, but
Because
it's
it's
gonna
not
break the
gonna
window,
fire.
right?
probably not gonna break that window.
Then why do
I
you
wouldn't
recommend?
control it.
It'll scratch
It doesn't make sense.
it'll scratch
You-
the
If
wood.
you're not, if you're gonna do this
That
room
window's
properly,
pretty tough.
if
the
you put
windows,
a-
Those
the
windows
glass
are
should
pretty
be
tough.
appropriate.
I know, but if they put an
If this
object
is where we're
hanging
gonna
out
have people,
and the windows on top
they're
of
gonna
it,
be
if we're gonna
locked in
need it,
here,
you know.
you know.
Yeah,
because the box is
We
in the
need-
bottom.
It'll leave the frame behind and the window, air conditioner will fall out.
Yeah.
Because you know how they
You
come
As long as you're not
You don't
doing it
think
in
you'll
every
pull that-
unit, that would be
break that
crazy.
window?
Nope.
yeah, but,
Well,
I think it's
So,
gonna be a problem.
that's what I think he's concerned
The
about.
what?
I think
No,
the air
He's
conditioners are
concerned
gonna
of
be a
the
problem.
tenant not being able to use them.
The what?
They-
I-
Air conditioners, I think they're
Oh,
gonna be,
air
I
conditioning.
think they're gonna be a
Well,
problem.
a lot of air
Ask
conditioners.
him for clarity.
What are they
You have
gonna
some
need-
that
what are they
are
gonna
flexible.
need?
So Bill, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Are you concerned about the tenant not being able to get an air conditioner and put it in? Or are you concerned for the window and what it will do to the window?
Both.
Okay,
I'm concerned that the tenants probably have a window air conditioner that they would
Yeah.
like to bring with them.
Or they'll buy one or something. But right now, these units aren't air conditioned, right?
No, they're
right.
not.
And here, so we've already informed the tenants last summer,
Yeah,
you know, when they were doing
Have-
that, not really.
owning a couple of these units where you stick them through the window.
Right, and we generally put the air conditioners in.
But do you put the panels in?
We will not be doing that because we don't have time to retrofit them.
Right.
And
And
they could never put them in and it would sustain it. I
They,
mean,
they don't
'Cause we-
they don't stay in very well.
they don't.
So
that's why we
any
inform them
discussion
now.
about Any discussion about windows that resist 110 mile an hour wind
Right,
is defeated by those panels, which blow out in
Right.
30 mile an
Right.
hour winds.
correct. So, I mean, we don't,
So it's,
it becomes a very cumbersome thing for maintenance to handle second story floor windows and trying to retrofit and ladders and,
no, I
we
don't
can't- we-
disagree.
I mean, it just,
Okay, so,
Well, just, you're worried about the air conditioners. What you could put in here somewhere, maybe over there, something that comes in through the wall.
no, we're okay in the community rooms.
Okay, you're just talking about
Because
every
we had,
unit.
before this, my concern was, so they built a retrofitted thing previous to these windows, not even realizing that in the end, it's gonna work out for us. Because we have an air conditioner that's pretty decent size, so it needed an extra retrofitting for this one building, we did one building, so, yeah. So that's it. So we're not worried about the community buildings, because we
Okay,
already
just
have done
worrying
that.
about the units themselves.
Individual units, but
themselves.
we put them in, the maintenance puts them in for a fee. And, but it's no longer feasible. By the time they get done retrofitting and buying the wood, the tenant could find a suitable, smaller,
Something you can just
AC.
plug in.
yeah.
You
And
don't
wheel
need that,
it, wheel it
no.
around.
It's
It's
different.
actually, they're wonderful, actually. I use them myself. I went to that.
Okay.
Okay, so.
that's it.
Okay, so we did speak about the sewer lines already.
Yeah.
The flood elevation survey, this job is completed, and all the plans are with the state, and what they do with them, maybe they will inform us. The underfloor plumbing contract call, he will be starting very shortly. He did say, he called on the 15th, he said in a couple of weeks, but I expect mid-January. And that is the end of my infrastructure report.
Motion on the infrastructure report?
I'll make a motion to approve the infrastructure report.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So that concludes, we did the contract for financial assistance, we did 317040 and 317043, right?
Yeah.
So we're done.
No, I'm so sorry. That was a mistake because the substantial was 317043 and the final was 317043. That was a mistake on the agenda.
On
So
the agenda, but we
They
voted.
voted for it.
Correct.
they're
We're all
both,
set.
both supposed to say 317043.
Correct.
And the one we did vote on was 7043.
Correct.
So the one on 704 is null and void.
We haven't got the paperwork
Yeah,
yet.
so the vote is null and void.
Well, we didn't vote.
We did, we
No.
voted on both of them.
We voted only on 317043, the substantial and final completion.
Okay.
And there is no 7040.
There was no 4040.
Okay, there is. That's just Scribner's error.
Thank you.
That's what?
Scribner's error.
Scribner?
Yes, the one who writes it.
Scribner?
Mine, scribble error.
You mean Scribbler?
No, Scribner. It's a term. It's a thing.
Okay, very good.
Thank you folks. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Okay.
Okay. You too, thank you.
Oh, you did motion to adjourn. I'm sorry.
Motion to adjourn, 5:40, 5:20.
Do we need a second? I'll second it.
Yeah. Okay, so do you have that other, that contract for financial assistance thing? That
Yeah.
one?
It's, you